Today on First Cup, we're gonna wonder why I never quite get the camera right before we get live and talk about all kinds of other stuff. Stick around, we're rolling in 20 seconds. Now, where am I? Yeah, I gotta pull that up. This is a raw, uncut show. That's how we do it. Right there. In 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Today is Wednesday. It is September 22nd, 2021. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Good morning, Stacy. Good morning, Daniel. Good morning to all of you watching, whether you're watching live or you're watching later or you're listening later, because, it's not... You got choices here. First cup, where we bring you choices. Like, what do you want to drink? I'm drinking coffee. Pretty much only drink coffee. It's not true. Like, in the morning, I drink coffee. And water. I drink water first. Big glass of water. That's good. Good stuff. Good morning, Jenny. Well, so yesterday was not a podcast recording day, but there was a podcast recorded. Here's some interesting things. I'm not going to tell you who, because you know me. But we started the recording at 7 o'clock. Ooh. And there were 2 people that I recorded with, but it's for a Monday show. And we did video. If we're going to change it, let's just change everything about it, right? I wore a clown nose. I'm just kidding. It was a really good conversation. And we'll see what everyone thinks. Oh, yes. Dennis is saying, happy autumn. It is autumn. Happy first day of not summer. It's warmer than it was yesterday. At least right now, here. Well, I appreciate all of you. Hope you're doing well. I've got a big pile going on over there of stuff. Why? Because I'm taking a couple days off. I'm not going far, but I'm going to travel a little bit. There are work things that have to be done. I am doing First Cup still. I will do First Cup from here tomorrow, and then I'll be on the road by 9. So getting stuff together. I got more to get together. I got to cut my hair. I know, it's really long, isn't it? I'm going to trim my beard. And just putting stuff together. I'm going to hang out on Cape Cod for a few days. Just, be somewhere different. Somewhere I haven't been in a long time. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to go outside. It's supposed to rain. But whatever. I need the change of venue. I think that's important for me right now. Yesterday was an interesting day. Yesterday I managed to get through most of my work. My car is back. The doctor's appointment went fine. And then like 2 o'clock, I said, I've got a call at 4:30 with a client, because client had a crazy schedule and I also had a crazy schedule. I said, let's open up a little bit after hours. And so we did 4:30. And then I knew I was recording at 7. So at like 2:30, I just said, I'm done. Then I started packing or really piling. Do you do that? The way I prep for going away is first I walk around the house and find everything that I should bring and I put it in a pile. And then I realize that pile is way too big, and I say, come on, Jeremy, you're being ridiculous. So then I put about half of it away. And then what I'm left with, I pack. I am always torn when I go away between this interesting, between two sides of me. There's the minimalist side of me that just wants to go and like bring changes of underwear and nothing else and see what happens. And then the other part of me that likes being prepared and wants to bring everything from battery backup units and my PlayStation and a pile of books to, 17 changes of clothes. We meet somewhere in the middle. Jared says, I went to Cape Cod once, right before I saw you. A front rolled through, and the temp went from 95 to 70. You'll have that. That happens. That was 2016. Cape Cod is beautiful. If the weather gets, looks okay, I might go for a whale watch. I've never done that. I don't know if I want to sit on a boat for 4 hours hoping to see a whale, though. I may be really bored out of my mind. So, I don't know what I'm going to do. And that's okay. I don't need to have a plan. I've planned enough. I've got a place to stay and everything else I can figure out. Where am I going to eat? I don't know. What am I going to eat? I don't know. What am I going to do? I don't know. I don't care. I'll find something. It's just, I think it's Jim Gaffigan, the comedian, who says vacations are just eating in a different place. And it's not entirely untrue. I just like being different places. Growing up, Cape Cod is somewhere that we went once or twice a year because there were tournaments nearby. When I was coming up in the tournament scene, there was a tournament on Cape Cod. And I remember one year sitting at the tournament contemplating, do we stick around for grands or do we try to get a few extra hours to get home ahead of the hurricane? I mean, that was, I remember really discussing that with my mother and the others that we were there with. We stayed. I got second to Josh because he was 9 and adorable, and he always beat me in grands. I never beat him in grands. He was too cute. I was 16 and big glasses and acne. Doesn't matter what you do. The kid was adorable. Daniel says, and one kitchen sink. Well, I've never been inspired to bring a kitchen sink, but I have this I really like this thing. It's a 12 volt stove, plugs into the cigarette lighter in the car, and I've cooked in it. A couple of years ago, when I did some car camping, I had some long drives and stopped at a grocery store, grabbed a piece of fish, wrapped it up in some foil, threw it in there because it doesn't get super hot, but it's like the perfect temperature to just kind of like just a hair north of slow cook food. And it was like a pound of fish. And I pulled in and I had to stop off at a Starbucks to upload photos. And I sat in the parking lot and I ate the whole thing because it was absolutely amazing. And I almost put that in the pile. And I said, you know what, Jeremy, when are you going to cook with this? You're not. Put it back. Okay. Stacy's suggesting fresh fish, lobster, or shrimp. Lobster doesn't do it for me. I enjoy it. It's good. But to me, it's not worth the price. It tastes the same as crab. So if I'm ever feeling like that, I'll get crab. But fish, yeah, all day. And Liz, haven't seen you in the chat in a while. Hope you're well, Liz. Saying, yes, I have that same problem with packing. I'm packing today to head back to Vermont for a wedding this weekend. I'm headed back to Master Rotas this evening. Oh, fun. Well, maybe I will go. I haven't been to Taekwondo in a very long time. Daniel, who of course is from the UK, even I know that the answer to what am I going to eat at Cape Cod is seafood. Well, it's true. It's true. But it's also a very touristy area, and we are out of season, which means the places that I'm going to be able to go to eat are sit-down restaurants, sit-down seafood restaurants on the Cape, not cheap. I don't put a budget on these things, but I try not to blow 50, 60, 70 bucks a meal. I'll probably have one nice meal, maybe Friday night, and then the rest of the time it's going to be little stuff. I have no issue going to the grocery store and grabbing food and pulling it back to the hotel room. Doesn't bother me a bit. Okay. Anything else to tell you guys? I don't think so. No. Let's see what you have for me. Nobody posted anything in the Facebook chat, Facebook group. Guys make me sad. I'm wearing my cozy sweater. My cozy alpaca sweater. All right. So Frank, as always, left us prepared because he's a good guy like that. Last Friday was Concussion Awareness Day. Some useful information about concussions. The people checking on you should take you to emergency department right away if you, let's see how many of these you all know, as martial artists, especially if you are a martial arts instructor, you should know these things. Look very drowsy or cannot be awakened. Have one pupil, the black part, middle of your eye, larger than the other. You're having convulsions or seizures. Vomiting is not on the list, but vomiting. If you cannot recognize people or places. If you are getting more and more confused, restless, or agitated. If you have unusual behavior, or if you lose consciousness. A brief loss of consciousness should be taken seriously, and the person should be carefully monitored. So I don't know if you remember, this was beginning of summer. I told you all a story about how I came around a corner near my house and there was a kid who rolled his Jeep. Basically went off the road, crashed into not a stone wall, but like a wall of stone, like an exposed rock face. And from what I got out of the kid following him, it rolled. Did 1.5. He had most of those. Wasn't quite sure what was going on. Sounded like he lost consciousness. He was a little out of it. Unfortunately, we knew that there was help coming. I was thinking about that the other day. I think about it almost every time I drive by that area. Because he just wanted to get his phone, and I just wanted him to get out of the car before it exploded. Fortunately, it didn't explode. I was very thankful of that. Jared's asking if I'm going to practice martial arts on the beach in a storm. I could. I could probably go find an exposed pier support and practice my balance and kicking. That would be fun. But no one would be there to take pictures of it. Right? Stacy says, I remember that first cup morning. Yeah. I was pretty upset. I was mostly upset at the cops who just didn't care. They did not care that this poor kid and the kid who had to watch it. I mean, I listened to their questions and it was all accusatory, as if the kids hadn't been through enough. There's a time and a place, but there. Empathy goes a long way. I like that, Dennis. If you can dodge lightning, you can dodge a kick. Jared saying beach martial arts selfie. Yeah, I'm bringing the gear. I'm bringing the tripod. Oh, I got to remember to bring the camera. Somebody remind me. I've got to bring this whole setup. I was going to bring a laptop anyway, so I can watch movies if the weather gets real bad. But we'll need this camera and the tripod it's on. So somebody remind me. Yeah. You know, it'll be an interesting weekend. It'll be fun. I'll have a lot of time in the car. I'm going to listen to tons of podcasts because that's what I do. It's probably going to be 5 hours each way, somewhere around there. It's okay. Doesn't bother me. I like being in the car. Thanks, Jared. Hey, bring the setup. Appreciate it. Daniel says, when I was working as a ref, I had a wrestler power bombed twice and knocked clean out. Concussion City, scariest time. Concussion is a crazy thing. It really is. Oh, and now Daniel's being funny too. I need the reminder tomorrow, guys. Not right now. Do you want me to disconnect this? Come on. Trying to think if there are other concussions. I've had a couple. There was one skiing. I collided with somebody and blacked out. When I was young, I was ice skating and went ass over tea kettle. There's a fun saying for you. And landed like right on the back of my head. And my mother drove me right to I think she drove me to the doctor because it was, I don't remember going to the hospital. I remember going to the doctor, which was interesting. Not sure why we went to the doctor. And yeah, Stacy just sent me a Facebook message reminding me about the equip. You guys are too funny. Liz says, I gave someone a concussion about 10 years ago while playing soccer at dusk. I kicked the ball straight at her face. She got sick and was very drowsy. We had to bring her to the ER. I've had a few concussions too. I am not surprised for those of you who do not know this. She's a little injury prone. Jared, my wife just had one last week. She's a high school teacher and a fight erupted around her. She got punched in the head repeatedly. Oh my God. That's awful. Is she okay? Is she okay now? So one thing that people don't talk about. So you know how right now like the diet du jour is keto, which 90% plus of people who think they're doing keto, they're just low carb. They're not actually ketogenic. They're not in ketosis. Their body is not. You know it. It's different. I was able to do it very briefly, and I didn't like it. And as someone who eats very limited meat, or from very limited meat sources, it was not sustainable. I just wanted to try it. But the reason the ketogenic diet was really developed and promoted in the early 1900s was as a cure, essentially, for pediatric seizures. That we have found that the brain, when the body is in ketosis, will repair itself in ways that we don't even fully understand. And there's plenty of evidence for this. So what should be happening, and this is, I'm not a doctor, okay? Don't listen to me. I don't know anything. One of the worst things you can do if someone has a concussion is give them glucose, sugar, immediately after. So think of pro sports. Think of football. A lot of people get minor concussions all the time. What are they drinking? Do not give them sugar. If you suspect that you've had a concussion or you know someone who has, try not to give them carbohydrates for a few days. If you can give them, from what I read, it's like 72 hours of fat and protein, priority on fat, it can help reduce the long-term effects. But don't listen to me. I don't know anything. She's okay now. Had to take a couple days off work. Man, that's scary. I was on concussion watch for those couple days. Ugh. Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting how we've done almost a complete 180 on concussions. When I was a kid, it was like, walk it off. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And now we're at a point where youth football programs are so under-enrolled compared to historical numbers that in the next 10, 20 years, we might see a dramatic difference in the number of people who, percentage-wise, make it into the NFL. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. I still don't want to go play football. But I play, touch football, but I'm not playing tackle football. You'd have to pay me a lot of money. So much money that, I retire after one season. And don't have to work again. That would be the only way I would touch that stuff. It's part of why I never want to get into full contact. Like I don't like getting hit. We're not supposed to get hit. It is counter to evolution, right? Like I'm going to choose to get hit. Hey, if you enjoy doing it, more power to you. Not my thing. Yeah. Liz says, when I was younger, it was definitely shake it off if the game was more important. Yep. And it's easy to do that when you don't understand the long-term implications and it's not your body on the line. I had coaches that were like that. Soccer coaches, they didn't care. It was about the game. So what's going on today for me? After this, I'll probably pack a little bit more. And I should say pile. I'm going to pile a little bit more. But it doesn't, sounds gross. Like I'm going to pile. I got to do the books, and then I'm going to head up to the co-working space. I haven't been there, and I actually got an email this morning from one of my friends, somebody I've been doing a little bit of work for, that he's got a big event planned, and he thinks he's pulling the plug on it. And so I'm going to go talk him through that, it sounds like. But I'll be up there. I got to go, my new liner, the Invisalign are in, apparently. I got to go swing by and grab those. And yeah, it'll be a light day. Today will be kind of like a Friday for me. I'm not going to work that hard because I don't want to. Because I'm going to take some time off, sort of. And remind me, I'll tell you tomorrow there's something kind of fun, kind of exciting going on tomorrow on the drive down. So I'll tell you about that. I'll probably remember. And Liz adds, and the fact that sports that literally rattle your brain around your head are changing is a good thing. I agree. Actually, here's something that we should bring up. What was whistlekick originally known for? I think now we're known for the podcast, but we were known originally for sparring gear, for the quality of the sparring gear. And one of the components of sparring gear are helmets, the foam helmets. And there is some interesting, almost conflicting, I don't know if I want to call it research, theory on helmets and the style helmets that we wear, foam, big squishy foam. When it comes to impact, direct impact, yeah, those are great. But what about when that impact is not? What about when that impact is a little more rotational? Those of you who know or may remember your back catalog of podcast episodes, Master Freddie LePan from episode 14, we go way back on this one. He's as good a fighter as I've ever seen. Okay, I mean, incredibly top-notch world caliber. He's got cred. He knows his stuff. Okay, he's been on a bunch of teams, and he lives like right there. One town over. Really great guy. And we've talked about it. He has his students in his dojo wear hand and foot gear, but not helmets. Because of two things, he said. One, the rotational force he feels is a bigger risk. And it's exacerbated by having helmets on. And he said, two, he's noticed that people are more respectful of techniques to the head when there isn't a helmet there, that psychologically they don't go quite as hard. He says, in his mind, that roughly evens out the impact force, but you don't have the rotational force. So he doesn't have them wear helmets. I'll be honest, I hate wearing gear. I don't like wearing gear. I think I'm better without it. I think I have better control without it because I've got most of my time training without it. But there are times to wear it. And I wear it. Yeah, not the kind of thing you'd expect from a guy who designed gear and launched a company on it, but it's true. Jared says, I don't like getting hit. Aren't you a martial artist? Don't you do Aikido? Which, that's really the art of hitting people with the floor, so maybe I shouldn't be so flippant. I don't like getting hit. It hurts. I'm a very defensive fighter. Just, no. Dennis adds, I've had my share of concussions from boxing in full contact. Some of the effects, short-term memory loss, especially for me, are lasting. And it's one thing if you're stepping out there and you know the risks, but much of the time we're asking kids to do this. And the brain doesn't stop developing until somewhere around 25. If we can push out all of those things, if we can push out alcohol, cannabis, concussions, etc., to the other side of 25, the brain has a much better chance of fully developing and being resilient long term. Liz, I had a coworker whose son fell while rollerblading. Didn't say anything to his mom. Then he competed in the long jump the next day. His concussion symptoms didn't show up until later. Sometimes the symptoms don't pop up right away. Exactly. Because what can happen is swelling, right? Like we've all had injuries. It's like, oh, you bang your arm, your elbow, and you're like, oh, that kind of hurts. And you wake up the next day and you're like, oh man, because overnight, as you were resting, your body went into repair mode and went, hey, that's a thing we need to prioritize and really put a lot of blood to that area. Same thing can happen in the brain. Hey, there's some stuff going on here. We need to address it. Swelling and creates pressure on other areas of the brain. Daniel, I hate wearing gear too. Helmet, gloves, groin protector, shin guards, and boots. Feel like RoboCop when I'm sparring sometimes. It's a great visual. Hayabusa has some fun gear, boxing gloves, I think, primarily, based on Marvel characters that I think are really, really neat. If I was a boxer, I'd probably have like the whole set because it's super neat. Liz, he was very drunk like while competing. Yeah. So the goal here, and I'm assuming I'm going to speak for Frank, speak for both of us. Be aware of concussions, and it can be really difficult in a adrenaline situation and an ego, a machismo situation to pull back or to pull out, to be healthy, to be protective. I've had situations where I've had to be the voice of reason, and people don't like it. But quite often in those situations, everyone knows the right answer. They know what should happen, but they don't want to be the bad guy. I have no problem being the bad guy. I would rather, in the end, have someone mad at me because I was a little overprotective of their health than I was underprotective. One of my sayings, you can be overprepared or underprepared. You will never be perfectly prepared. Hence my pile packing style. If you're concerned about the health, the long-term effects, etc. of, let's say, a concussion, you can shoot high, you can shoot low. You're not going to get it right. You don't have an MRI in front of you. So what do? You should be erring on the side of being conservative. There are plenty of things that you can fix later. You can, you know what? If a bone, here, perfect example. This finger, broke it. It wasn't set correctly soon enough. It had to be rebroken, and it's not 100%. You can see the gap in there. I've shown this on the show between pinky and ring finger. It's not a big deal. But what if you get it wrong on your brain? What if there's internal bleeding? You might die. It's not worth it. Good morning, Craig. Craig coming in at the end. Well, we'll end with this. I want to thank everybody for watching, for listening. Daniel following up on his RoboCop idea. I've just given myself the visual of someone winning a match and saying, thank you for your cooperation, in RoboCop's voice as they turn and walk away. That's my best RoboCop impression. It's been a very long time since I've seen that movie. But Yeah, we could have a soundboard. We could press buttons. Here. No, by the time I find it, you'll all have signed off. Thank you for your cooperation, for your attendance, whether you are here live or later on. This was a fun show. See, the more you guys are active, the more you're all here and you're playing along, the better. So a few things. Leave your questions and comments for tomorrow on the Facebook group, First Cup with Jeremy. Remember, if you want to support us, two easiest ways, patreon.com/whistlekick, or the code FirstCup15 at whistlekick.com. Grab your free training day shirt. If you are coming to free training day, grab your free training day shirt. Trust me. Okay? And remember that we do this every weekday, 6:30 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time. I appreciate all of you. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, and I will see you back here tomorrow. Take care. Peace.